Hello everyone, in this video I'm going to be showing you how to design a simple interest calculator just like this with JavaScript, HTML and CSS. You won't even need to connect to the website. You will do it 100% on your own, like putting 0 here, which is actually invalid, and then getting an alert which says please enter a positive number, or putting the right amount like 500 and then putting the rate of 5%. This is actually updated everything, and then putting the number of years, how to get the data lists, and then clicking on compute interest, and then you get a result. If you borrow the sum of $500 for 3 years at an interest rate of 6.75%, your interest will be 101.25, and your payable amount in 2026 will be 601.25. So this is a beautiful one. The JavaScript is there. This is the JavaScript, and I also use the JavaScript to get this as well. So how do I do this? Let me take you through the process. So now the code we are going to write first is the HTML code, and then we want to write doc type, which is actually necessary to inform the browser, the interpreter, what type of language we are writing in. HTML, so that's the language we are writing in. So HTML, this is where all our program is going to be. So inside this HTML, and then I want to have a head, and then I want to close the tag as well. I like closing the tag so that I will not actually forget. And then inside the head, I want to have a title, and then it is actually interest calculator. So we can close the title. So now I've closed the head as well. So inside this head, we are still going to add some other things later on, but we can still leave it as it is right now. So that's the head. So now this is the body, where everything that will be seen is gonna come into. So the body, and then the first thing I want to do inside the body is to actually have a div class, which is actually a division for everything that's going to be in the browser for all the content. So I have my div class equals main division, main div, and then I can close it. I want to end the tag, and then after doing that, so I want to have an h1, and the h1 is simple interest calculator, and I want to end the close the tag for the h1. So outside of this, so if I save this right now, let me practicing or let me just say calculator simple interest calculator.html, so that I'll be able to open it. So let's look for the file. This is it. So this, if I open it right now, so we can see simple interest calculator, and this is the head, which is actually the title that I have, local interest calculator. That's what I put there. And then here the h1 simple interest calculator inside the main division that I've actually put. So the main division is just a section, categorizing of section, so that if I want to if I do any settings inside the main division, maybe alignment or anything, it will affect all the elements inside it, which this one is inclusive, which is h1. So let's just continue with our code. So that's the h1. So after the h1, after this, what else do I want? So simple interest calculator, what do I want? I want an input feed. And what I want there, I can just put amount, that's just the label. Input type equals number, which actually makes it okay, that's the type of, because we have different input type. Some are text, some are email. So this is actually number. It's formatted as a number. That means it's expecting number to be in that input feed. So number, the ID equals principal. The ID is very important and also case sensitive, because that's what we are going to be referencing when we want to pick when we want to use the JavaScript to make the calculation. So the input feed is number, the ID is principal. So we are going to use JavaScript to get that we are going to use this ID in JavaScript to get whatever it is that is inputted in this box. So that is for that. And let's go ahead and do something else. So we also want to rate the rate that people we actually put, and then input type. The input here the range, like the rate, sorry. So the input rate, so what type of, is it going to be number? But we don't want number here, we want range. So there are different input type. As I've said, we have number, we have text, we have email, and we also have range. So this one is range, and the id is rate. And then we want to do something here. So let me just close this first, and say we'll see what is going on here. If I save this and then I come back here and then I refresh, so you see we have this amount here, which is actually expected number. This is the rate, which is range. So we can see, so this one. So I want to break this one so that it will be much more okay. So I want to put a break here. So let me see if that works. Yeah, so that works actually. So now it's actually break. So that's for that. And going ahead in this rate, there's something we can do more before closing the tag here. We can have minimum equals 1 and max equals 20. So we are actually defining the range here. That is, the max range is going to be 20, and then the value, that is the current value, the default value, is going to be 10.25. and then the step, that is when you are when you are going over the range, is going to be 0.25. So I have that, so I can close it. So let me save this and explain more by looking at the website. So we have it here. So now it's currently on 10.25 here, but you cannot still see it yet because we've not done some of the things that we are supposed to do here, which is actually to create a function that will actually be displaying whatever is here. So we've not done that yet, but we still do it. So every step is 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, 0.25, because that is the step that are assigned to it. So that is for that. And then going forward, one thing I want to do after this is I want to display something beside this. I want to display whatever it is, whatever value we have here. I want to display it here. So how am I going to do that? So what I would just want to do is actually to have a span. So after this, let me just give a span id equals rate. Let me just put rate underscore value, rate value, and then it's going to be 10.25 because that's what I assigned to it in my value in my range value. So 10.25, and I can then close the span, and then I can just put percent because it's going to be in percent. So I can just break here, and then let me save this, and then let's see what we have. So we have 10.25% here. So but if I actually shift it, it's not going to change. We need the JavaScript to collect whatever is here, whatever is in this range. We need the JavaScript to collect it and then update it on this, and we are going to do that very soon, just now. So let's just continue with our programming. So we've done the amount, the input is number, the rate, the input is going to be in range, because interest, I think the max for interest is probably 20. The max is 20% most of the time for interest. So that's why we have 20. But if your max is 40, you can put 40. But the max ideally is 20 here. So that's why I put 20. So now, aside from this span, and we've also created the rate, which is actually the input type, is range, and we also have it as ID, which is rate, and then we give it the minimum of 1, maximum of 20. the currency value is 10.25 and the step is going to be 0.25. So let's go ahead from this and then go to the next thing that we need to do, which is actually the number of years. So number of years, or number of years. And what input type do we want? Input type equals number, id equals years, and list, we want a list over there. List equals year underscore list. So we have that. So we want it to be a list. So in input type, when someone click on the input type, we can have different predefined answer, just like in different boxes. Maybe you want to select an address, and then there is a list where you can actually choose whatever it is that you want to choose from. This is actually how it's been achieved. So that is what we want to do. That's what we want to do here. So we have lists, we have input type number, id years, and we also have list, which is list is year underscore list. So now we want to do something which is actually very necessary here. So here, data list id equals year underscore list. So I think you should understand why this year list makes sense right now. List is year underscore list. So this year underscore list will actually is linking to this. If we have LRIST here, it has to be LRIST here. So it has to be the same description, because they are linking. This list is actually gotten whatever it is, it's gotten its content, its values, it's getting it from this. So we have that data id equals year underscore list, and then you can just come down and then option value. So that's just the syntax for declaring list. Option value 1, and then you close the bracket, and then you write 1, and then option, close the tag, option. So this is the same thing that you will do. Option value equals 2, close, and then 2 option. So that's just how it's been done. Your home might not be numbers, it might be something else, but this is how it's actually been done. This is the syntax for that. So this is what you are going to do. Option. So I want it to be something like probably 10 or whatever. Option value, and option value 4, option value equals 5, and close it, 5 option. I think I will just stop at 6. Option value equals 6, and then put 6, and then close it. So after doing that, you have to close the data list. You have to close it, and then you can actually attach a break, and then that is for that. So let's save this and see how that behaves. So if you refresh right now, so we have this here. So we now see there's a drop down 1 2 3 4 5 6, because we actually put 6. So that is what we did there. Number of years, we have the input feed as number, and then we list it, we link it to a list, which is what we did here. We put list, and then the data list is what we have here. The data list id is year underscore list, which must also be in sync with the list that we want to check from. So this is the list, this is the id, and this list is checking from this year list, which we have here. So that is for that. And then going forward, we want to have our interest as well, the interest. So interest, and then we can just put on span id equals result, and close it, span, and then we can actually use a break here. So that's for that. So if I click save here right now, so we have our interest as well. So this is the interest, but it's not written yet because we've not actually written, the interest is going to be determined by some of the calculations that will be performed. So that is why we have the interest here, and then we just have a span ID. So we will use JavaScript to write the value of this interest. We use JavaScript to write the interest because the interest is going to be a computation of whatever amount, whatever range and number of years that is being imputed. So that's how we are going to get the interest. So we can do something in JavaScript. We can use span to actually, create an element, and then we use JavaScript to write the content of that element, and that is what we did here. So this is the interest, and then it's showing currently, but we have span ID, which is actually results, but we didn't have any content inside of it. But we can actually use JavaScript to write the content of this span ID. So that's what we are going to do very soon. And then after the interest, we can then probably have our we can close our div. We've already closed it already, and then we can have our footer, and then footer. You can write whatever it is. This calculator belongs to you. So, and whatever is your name belongs to John Doe. So that's for that. And if we save, we are going to have this. So this calculator belongs to John Doe. So this is everything that we will need to write for now in our HTML. But now we need to style this calculator that we've actually written. This all this HTML, we need to style them. So in the styling, so we can actually have a separate document, but because this is actually a simple file, it's not much complicated, we can have all the code, the CSS, the HTML, and the JavaScript in the same file. But of course, I will write the JavaScript in a different file, but I want to include the HTML and the CSS in the same file. So the CSS is going to be in the head section. So let me go up. So this is my head, this is my head, and then this is my head, this is my title, and I can actually have the style here as well, the style, and then style, close it. So now one thing I want to do first, the H1 header 1, which I have, which is all the H1 in the document, we have the color gray, and then the font family area. So we have that, and then I can close it. So I can then, let me do something else. The body of the document, I want to give it background color black, and then that is for that. So let's save it and let's see our calculator. Let's see what's going on here. So right now you see this, everything we have here is the body of our document. So you see everything is black, but this one is gray, and it actually has increased in size. The color has changed. The color is now gray, and then the font family is actually Arial. So everything is black, all the background is black. But now we want to do something, because everything that is inside here is inside our main division. So let me go back into the code. So we have body, division class, main division. So everything here is inside this division. Everything here is inside this division, but we have our body, which is actually a step higher. So that is why the body contains this main division and every other thing, including the footer. The body contains everything. So that's why when we look at our website, everything is black. But now in our main division, we can have a different background for our main division. for everything that is here. So that's what we want to do right now. So let me go back here. So we have dot main div, and then we have dot main div, and we have background color. Let's make it white. Width, the width of it should be 400 pixel. Or let's just go back and see what happens right now, so that you can actually see the effects of whatever it is that we are doing. So now you see this is the everything. Background color of our main div is now white, but I want to have a width that is not, it doesn't extend to this place, because the design is not actually beautiful like this. So I want to go back here, background color white, width, the width of it is going to be 400 pixel, and padding, which is actually, you know, within the background, within everything, 25 pixel. And then border radius, we can have 5 mm. So let's go ahead and see what we have here. Yeah, so you see it's 400 pixel right now, and then border radius 5 mm. What we have, so 25% padding makes us have this 25% here. It's everything is just, you know, centering, everything comes in. If I actually reduce the padding here to 5, you will see what's going to happen here. You see that it will not look as much beautiful as we have it. Everything will extend to the edges, you see. So that's what we have, everything extend to the edges, but adding the 25%, we have it, you know, leaving the edges up here. We have everything the way it's supposed to be. So 25 pixel. So, and then refreshing, so we have it again, it push it out. So, and that's actually very nice enough. So let's go ahead. I want to include some styling as well. The border radius is 5 mm. We can also have border top style. You can make that solid. Border top width, you can make that 20 pixel. And border top color, you can make that green. And we can just have margin 0 auto, and we can have text align. We want to align the text to the center, align to the center. So, and then let's save. This is what we have here. So right now, what we have, the border top width, which is what we have there, 20 pixel border top width solid. It actually makes us, give us the opportunity to have the color. So let me just explain very well. So this is actually what we have there. The background color, which is white, width 40%, padding 25%, which actually push this in all direction. And we have border radius 5 mm. We have border top style, we make it solid. That is, we want the border top to be style, and the style is solid, so that's why it is solid up here. And then the border top width should be 20 pixel. If you actually make it 10 here, you'll see that it's going to reduce here. So you see it's actually reduced. So but we still want to maintain the 20 pixel, and we save. And then you see we have it here, and then we say border top color green, we want it to be green. So this margin O auto actually centers everything. It actually brings it to the center. Margin O auto, it actually centers it, and text align is actually centered it. If you put it to left, it's going to, all the tests are going to be aligned to the left. So you see that's what we have there, but I want the text to be aligned to the center. So that is what we have there. So it's aligned to the center right now. So that's for the main div. And then let's go back and do our footer, because we still have our footer in there. So let's, our footer, background color background color, we want it to be white as well. The color, we want it to be black. Margin from top, we want it to have 20 pixel space. And text align, we want it to be center. Margin left, we want it to be 37%. And margin right, we want it to be 37% as well, 37%. So that's for that. And then let's close the bracket, and then let's save, and let's see our footer. So yeah, this is our footer, and these are all the settings that we've made there. So the background color is white, which is white we have here. The color is black, which is black we have here. Margin top 20 pixel, and that's what we have here. We put it 10. You see how it's going to behave now. So it goes up more. So if we text align center, you see it's centered. Margin left, if we put that on 30 and we put this on 30 as well, we'll see how that is going to behave. So we'll save that, and then yeah, we have it more, but I think let's just put it at 34 and 34, and let's see if that's going to be balanced. Yeah, it's going to be balanced. We can just add the border radius 5 mm and save. Let's see. So I think 5 mm is too much. Let's put it at 2. So this is a little bit nicer. So that is for that. And then we now need to do something with the button. So now we need to actually style the button as well, though. We need the button, actually the compute button. I did not add it earlier, so we have to add it. It has to be inside here as well. So I want to add a button. So button id equals compute. We need the id for JavaScript. So what do you want? Compute interest, and then you can close the button. So that's for that. So when we close it, so we see the button text there. Yeah, so compute interest. So I forgot to add it before, but now I've added it. Now we also need to style the button. So after styling the filter, we now also style the button as well. So button, let's have background color. We've actually been using green. Background color, let's set it to green color. That is the color of what will be there, white. And then do we want border none, and then padding. How do you want it to appear, to the text to appear inside the button? You want it to have a 10 pixel padding all around. And then border radius, you might want to put 2 mm, and then we have that. So if I save right now, our button is going to be styled very well. So this is what we have: 10 pixel, 10 pixel, 10 pixel, which makes it okay. So now we have it. But what about when people over this button? So that's what we want to do right now. Button over. So button over. So we have background. We want the background color to turn to white on hover. We want the color to be green. We want the font width, to be bolder. You can use bold or bolder. Border radius, we still want to maintain 2 mm. And then the cursor, when it's over, you want the cursor to turn to pointer. And then border, you want it to be solid. And then border width, we want to add border width 1 pixel. And then border color, we want it to be green. So let's see how we did. So let me refresh. So on hover, you see this is the border width that I had, which is 1 pixel. You see it's very tiny, and this is the border color which I had is green. I made it green, and the color is solid. The cursor is now turning to pointer immediately I'm hovering on it. So that is for that, and I think it's very nice as it is right now. So we've already done a lot of things in HTML and CSS. So what other thing do we need to do right now? So we just need to go to JavaScript and then do the next thing that we are meant to do in JavaScript, and we may also need some additional things to linking our JavaScript with our HTML. So going back here, and now I can save this. I've done everything I want to do. This looks nice already, and if you want your own green to be here, this is just how to do that. Let me minimize this. So back to your main div, button top style solid, or yours can be button top width 20%, button top color. Let's try to do something here. Button border top style, let's say border right style, border right width, border right color. Let's save it. Let's see what we have. You see, so this border actually is now here on the right side. So if you want to do yours like that, so that's just it. But I think I want it to be the way it is before, so I like it like that. So we've done everything we want to do as far as this is concerned. Yeah, so now we just need to write the JavaScript, because and what we need the JavaScript to do for us is to update this. As people are moving it, it's going to update to whatever range this is currently on, because we have it on make the minimum is 1 as we described, and then moving it a point is 0.25, move it another point is 0.25. so it actually has a number. So we want this to actually be updated, and then when people enter an amount here, they enter their interest, and we might and we click on compute interest, we will have the interest displayed here. We have the interest displayed here as what their interest is going to be. We write this interest, but we also have a span ID, which we can actually use to write an inner text for this, because we have it here. Let's see, we have span ID, rate var, no, this is not one. We have interest, which is we write. It doesn't have any inner HTML, but we can actually use this span ID result to write an inner HTML inside this place however we want it. So let's go and do the magic in JavaScript. So let's open a new document. So now we want to do what we can do in JavaScript. So the first thing we want to do is actually, let's deal with this so that this is actually being updated. So let's come here and write a function in JavaScript that will actually do just that. So we want to write a function update rate. So we do that. So variable rate underscore val equals document dot get element by id rate dot value, and we also want to do something like this: document dot get element by id rate underscore var dot inner text equals rate underscore var. So that is the function. So what we did here is we get the elements. So we always work with id, HTML id in JavaScript. So let's go back to the previous one we wrote. Let's come here. So we have the rate id. This is the rate, this is the ID rate. which we are retrieving here. Rate variable rate underscore var equals document dot get element by id rate dot value means we are getting the value inside of this id. So that's what we are doing. And then document dot get element by id rate var dot inner text equals rate var. So we are transferring whatever it is that is gotten from this place into this rate var, because when we look at this, this is actually rate var span id. We have 10.25, which is actually the automatic one that is actually there. That's why we have it there. But right now we are collecting in JavaScript whatever it is here, which is the rate, and then we are transforming it into this. So what we did in the function is we just get to this id, we get whatever input is actually here in this rate, and then we transfer it to inner text to this rate var. We make it to be this. So let me go back there. So rate var, we declare rate var variable rate var equals document dot get element by id. We get the whatever input is in this rate to its id that we have in HTML. We get whatever value is inputted there, because we put dot value, so we get it. And then we now say rate var, which we have here, document dot get element by id rate var, which we already have in HTML, which is actually where we have this 10.25. And then we now use dot inner text, which we can use to access the content of an element, or modify the content. And then we now say it now belongs to this rate var that we declared here. And what is actually inside this is actually what is gotten from this rate. So what is gotten from this rate is transferred to this rate var, and then what is now gotten from this rate var, which is normally by default is going to be 10.25, is now being declared as whatever it is that is inside this place, and whatever is inside this place is what we get from this rate value. So let's save this and see how it's going to behave. So what should we use to save this? Let's save it with my calculator .js. So my calculator.js. So we have that. So let's go back to our HTML and link it, because we have to link it. So we have to link it in our head section. So this is our head section. We can just put that after the title. We can just put it after the title, even before the style, and just say script. So this is how to link a JavaScript document, my calculator.js. So you want to make sure that the name is actually the same, because if the name is not the same, it's not going to link. So script, and then we can save it. So let's see if what we did actually works. So we didn't see it yet, so let me go back and check what is actually the problem. What actually happened here is I've declared the function, I've linked it, but I've not actually put this function, I've not actually initiated this function in the HTML. So what we have to do right now is go back to our HTML document, and then go back to this rate. Go back here, let's come back here, this rate here after 0.25. So we want to actually initiate a function here. So on change, so immediately the so update rate, because I've linked the document, so everything here is also so because I've linked both documents, because I've actually linked it here with to my calculator.js, this is where I've linked both documents. So all the functions that have been declared can also be read by this document. So now when the input that I put here, the input type is range. So this is the minimum, this is the value, this is the step, and the like. So whenever this range changes, so this function is going to be initiated. That's what I just did here. You have to put it here. So whenever this range changes, this function is going to be initiated. So let me save, and then let's go back to our document and see what's going on. So you see this changing. So the maximum is 20, so we have the minimum is 1, just as we have it, and every step is 0.25. So you see 1.5, you move by 1 again, you see 2.25. So that's just how this is operating. So that's how to work with this. Very simple. So the automatic is 10.25, which is what we actually have here. Is 10.25, which is what we declared here. But this rate, we have this rate ID, and then we get this rate ID in our JavaScript, and then we update this rate, and then we transfer whatever it is that we get into this. We write the we modify the content of this rate var through inner text, as we did in JavaScript. Dot inner text equals rate var. That is, this rate var, this variable that we declare here, is actually getting the value in the rate. So getting the value in the rate is now transforming the value into this rate var. It's rewriting what we have in this rate var through the inner text. It's rewriting it through the inner text. So that's what we have here, and that's how that functions. So aside from doing that, I think the next thing to do is also to just, whenever people click on this, whatever amount that they put, they should actually be able to compute their interest. So that's what we are going to do right now in our JavaScript. So continue. So what we want to do now is to write another function compute. So it is this function that we actually give people their interest. So variable principal equals, so we first want to get all the inputs that we will be having here. We want to get the amount input, rate input, number of years, and then we now use it to do some calculations. So we want to get all the inputs here. And how do we do it? We will only be able to get it through the ID that we've actually specified. So that's what we are going to do. So principal equals document.get element by ID, principal dot value, and then the rate as well, variable rate equals document dot get element by ID, rate dot value, and then the years as well, variable years equals document dot get element by ID, yes dot value, and then we want to do some calculations here. Variable interest equals principal multiplied by years multiplied by rate divided by 100. So that's for that. And we also want to do something here. Variable amount equals, so this is the interest, that is principal times, because we got the input, which is the principal times rate times principal times years times rate divided by 100, because we get the inputs in the principal, because this feed, the ID that we have there is principal. When we get elements by ID, which, and the ID is principal, the input is transferred. This rate as well, the ID is rate, number of years here, the ID is years. So, and let's just confirm that I'm saying what is right. So the ID is yes. So whenever we get the elements by JavaScript, so so whatever input is actually here is being transferred to this principal right now. So now we can now multiply it, principal times years times rate divided by 100. So we also want to do something. Variable amount equals pass int principal plus pass float interest. So variable, I will still explain this, result equals document dot get element by id result, and then variable year equals new date dot get full year plus pass int years. So now these are all the functions that we need to write for this, but we're still going to continue. So let me just explain what we have here. So you need to know in JavaScript that what the reason why we write this code is because we want to perform an addition. In JavaScript, when you are performing a multiplication, JavaScript will automatically convert the items you want to multiply into numbers. But when you want to provide when you want to actually do an addition, JavaScript does not automatically convert it to numbers, because we have something in JavaScript called string concatenation. So that if you actually write 100 plus 233 in JavaScript, it can actually give you 100233. But you have, in an attempt not to get something like this, you have to ensure that this you convert this 100233. You have to ensure that you convert it to number. So it's actually very, very important. So that's why we use pass integer here. That is to, this pass int is actually used with integer. Pass float is actually used with floating number, that is numbers with decimal. And because we actually have decimal number here in terms of the rate, you can be sure that maybe we may have a floating number in this. So that's why we use pass float for this. So pass integer principal plus pass floating interest. So this will actually convert this to number. It will make sure that it's a number, so that what you will have will not be string concatenation, and you will have the correct result. So amount equals pass integer, this principal, amount also pass floating, this interest. So because when you want to get interest, this is the interest, principal times CS times V divided by 100, and then the amount is going to be your principal plus this interest. So that's how to get interest in anywhere in the world. That's the calculation for getting interest. So now we also have variable result and variable year. So I will explain that right now. So why do I need variable result here? And I'm getting an element which is result here. So this is actually because when you are working in JavaScript, you can actually use JavaScript to set the inner text for an HTML element or to modify it. So and to do that, sometimes in HTML you will actually just put an empty element, so you can then access the empty element and then write the inner content. So that is what I want to use here. This is the result variable. This is what I will use to display the result. So I will get an element that has the ID that I can use to display whatever result that I want to display. So, and how does this work? For example, let's go back here. So this interest, so immediately someone click on compute interest, so this function should be initiated. This function compute should be initiated, and the result should actually be displayed. So this variable result, so it should actually display in front of this as whatever the interest is going to be. So, and to do that, let me go back to my to display the result. Let me come back here, and then we have interest span id equals result. I've already put it there before. So span id equals result. So it's going to get the content of this. Meanwhile, there's no content, but we can actually, even though there's no content, we can access it and then use JavaScript to write the whatever content that we want into this. So that's what I want to do. So I'm going back there. So document.get element by id result. So we also have new variable year equals new date.get full year. So what this is actually doing is it's going to get the current dates of today. Whenever the person is actually putting the the amount and the likes, it's going to get the current date of that day, the current day of that present day. This is what this is actually doing, and you have to be careful to get the case sensitivity right. So it's going to get the present day in terms of day, month, and year, and then plus the years, the number of years that the person actually picked. So because we already have it here, years, document will get element by ID years dot value. So the value may be 7. The value may be 7. So pass integer years, that is, we are actually making it a year. So the current date that the person is going to be maybe 2025 plus 7. So that will be 2020, whatever it is, 2025 plus 7. So that's what we are doing here, because we want the interest calculator to be actually very descriptive, and you will get it very soon as well when the result is being displayed. So after writing all this, so we now want to do something lastly. So if the principal, like the amount that the person entered, is lesser or equals to 0, so we can do something like alert, please enter a positive number. Please enter a positive number, and we have document dot get element by ID principal. You don't necessarily need this, but I like it actually. Dot focus. So what this will do is that it's going to return the focus into this box. So if someone puts something here and they click on compute interest, this line will still be inside this amount. This line will still be inside this amount. The focus will still be inside this amount. So when we are doing it, you will still see very much of it as we go on. So let me just continue. So we do that. If principal lesser or equals to 0, then this is what is going to show. Please enter a positive number, and then the focus will be on the principal, which is the amount again. So that is for that, and then that is that condition, or else, which is actually what we hope that the person will put, result dot inner HTML. So this is what we are talking about now. So this result that we have, result equals document dot get element by ID result. We get the result, document dot get element by ID, which is result, is being transferred to this. So this is what we have. Let me go back there. So inside this interest, the ID is result. So we can use HTML to actually write the content that we want inside this interest, inside this span ID, which actually holds result. We can use JavaScript, and JavaScript does that by inner.html. So we have result dot, that is the elements that we want to write it inner HTML. So we have result dot inner HTML. If you bold the sum of dollar plus principal, which is your principal that we have here, which is your principal plus principal. We can't just write plus 700 because we don't know what the person is going to put, so we have to put principal. This is actually a little bit complicated, but it's actually easy. Just follow through. Plus, we had a comma here, plus I want to add a break here, and I want to put 4 plus years plus year plus, I want to add a break at an interest rate of plus rate plus percent. I want to put percent. Your interest will be plus interest that we have up there plus onto add a break plus break and your payable amount in plus year plus will be plus I want to add the dollar sign plus amount, and then you want to close the bracket and then close it again and then save. So I need to put this compute function in my HTML document. So I just have to go to my HTML. So where is the button? So button ID, and then what I want to do here is to set the on click button ID equals compute, and then on click, that is when the button is clicked, on click equals compute. So that's what we have. So if I save this right now and then come here, let's renew, let's refresh, and then let's put 0 here first and see how it's going to behave. So you see, please enter a positive number. So if you enter a positive number, $500 at the rate of 5.5% in 4 years, and we click on compute interest. So you see, if you borrow the sum of $500 for 4 years at an interest rate of 5.5%, your interest rate will be $110, and your repayable amount in 2027 will be $610. So that is all the function that we have wrote here. So this is all the things we were actually writing here. It seems a little bit complicated because if you don't get it right, because in JavaScript, if the syntax is wrong, everything will not work. So you have to make sure you get everything right. So if it's go to inner HTML, which is actually this, because the ID of this interest is results. So when we click results.inner HTML, so we are actually writing into this. So if you borrow the sum of this dollar, we are the one that write it, plus principal. So this is actually the principal plus this comma here, that is what we have here, this comma, that's what we have here, plus break. Because I break here, that's why we have this break, and then we have for plus years. This is the years that are right here. That's why you see this one is in quotes, but this one is not, because this is it. So this is the break again at an interest rate of plus rate. So this is the rate, 5.5%. This is the percent. This is the percent. I didn't put space here, so see, that's why there's no space here. So the space is there now, will be this. I put the dollar is here. So that's how we write everything. Interest, so your interest, so I put the space now. Your interest will be dollars plus interest, which is the interest that we had here, principal times years times rate divided by 100, which is actually what we have here. And we had a break, and your repayable amount in 2027, amount in 2027 plus year will be, I'm supposed to add space here again, so will be plus amount, which is, and where is the amount? This is the amount, pass int principal plus pass int plus pass float interest, because this is the interest and then this is the principal. So this is where we plus it. This is where we plus it. We did the addition and the amount, so this is where we put it. So that is for that. So let me save, and then you will see the spaces that I've added again. how it's going to reflect. So let me use 421, and then in the space of 4 years at 14% compute interest. So you see the spaces reflect right now. So, and this is what we have. If you borrow the sum of $421 for 4 years at an interest rate of 14.25, your interest will be 239.97, and your repayable amount in 2027 will be 660.97. So this 2027 is achieved by writing this function that we have here, which actually gets our current date, and then it plus this year plus 4. So it plus it. So by this, it's actually plus this is actually plus both of them together. So that's how we were able to get this 2027. So that is for that. If you like this video, kindly like this video, kindly subscribe to this channel for more of this, and I will be teaching you more on React very soon and other things that you need to know. So hopefully see you in subsequent videos. Thank you.